Investment advisory services are offered through Fusion Capital Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The firm only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. SEC registration is not an endorsement of the firm by the Commission and does not mean that the advisor has attained a specific level of skill or ability.
Welcome to Navigating Retirement with Rick Durkee.
Hey, great day to you, and welcome back to Navigating Retirement, podcast set up for those that are retirement-minded. This retirement planning video is meant to be shared with anyone that might find it helpful. If you think that your retirement-minded friends or family members might be interested in watching this video, feel free to share it with them. It's easy to share with those in your life that you care about their well-being. Don't forget to copy or write down the link to this video and send it to them, or forward the email that we sent to you that you received this latest edition of the podcast of Navigating Retirement. There are going to be several links below in the show notes. You're going to want to pay attention to those offers. That show notes section is always going to have valuable information that you can use in your retirement planning journey. So let's get ready to learn a little bit today about the 11 ways to create a financial legacy and how these 11 ways could affect you in your retirement. Let's get started. And hey, long live retirement, right? Longevity gives us time to prepare, but remember the saying that time is money. You want to take advantage of this time that you have to plan for your financial legacy early, because there's always a chance that you may not have the time later, or the resources, or the mental capacity. This type of planning needs to happen while you're alive and well, while you have all your cognitive reasoning, while you're in good shape mentally and physically. And it's also a good time now, post-COVID, for us to get together with family members and also do some family planning. There'll be an occasion coming up. It might be Thanksgiving, Christmas, or sometime when we're gathering the family, when we can have family meetings to discuss some of the topics that we'll talk about today. In this episode, I'm going to go over these 11 ways to create a financial legacy. Or in other words, we're going to share with you today 11 ways to leave what you want to who you want, and how to keep Uncle Sam's hands out of your legacy plan. Creating a financial legacy can be difficult without an estate plan. An estate plan is a set of documents that tells others what to do with your assets when you want to make sure that your wishes are carried out from beyond the grave. So you're no longer here, but these documents, which could include a will, a trust, and some other advance directives, which we'll cover today, that spell out what you want for your legacy plan, whether it's leaving a sizable amount of money to your heirs or helping fund your favorite charity. We'll discuss how to make sure that your hard work to build your life savings and create this lasting legacy for others will be carried out for you as long as we do the proactive planning while you're alive and well. Hey, when it comes down to any type of financial planning, be it in retirement income planning or your financial legacy planning, what matters most to you is what you need to build your plan. So everyone's individual plan is going to be uniquely yours, and it's going to be determined based on what you feel is important for your legacy plan. But here's my number one point that I want to make sure everybody understands today, is that everybody is going to leave a legacy, whether it be financial or it is some type of, just passing on of knowledge, a mentorship situation or something like that, things that you can do to benefit others. That's what we're talking about today. So we're also going to be talking about today, you should do this while you're alive and well. TV shows that you've watched in the past, when they read the will, always say, being of sound mind and body. Well, that's, of course, important that we do this planning proactively while we are of sound mind and body. But you probably also heard of the saying, where there's a will, there's a way. Well, that comes from the standpoint of if there's a written will, then directives will be set up so that you have taken care of these things in a legal document. There's many ways to do that. I think sometimes about the origins of old sayings, and I think about a story that a client shared with me last night over dinner. We were talking, and they came from a farming background, and they said, we used to store our eggs down in the cellar, and then on Saturdays we'd take them to market and we'd put them in a crate. And one time I was coming upstairs from the cellar and I was bringing the eggs and I slipped and fell. This was my client telling the story, and my father was just so upset because those were the assets that we were bringing to the table here to try and generate some revenue for our family. It's what we were selling from our farm. And I slipped and fell and the eggs all broke. Well, that's where we get a saying like, don't leave all your eggs in one basket, right? So there's origins for these sayings of where there's a will, there's a way, or, making sure that we're of sound mind and body when we create these plans for our financial legacy that are very important that we consider. How do you leave your financial legacy for your family? The first thing is starting with a plan, of course, and a retirement income plan helps us develop a strategy that will show us, is there going to be anticipated dollars that we're going to have to do some tax planning with now so that those assets pass on in the most financial, the best financial means possible, and certainly in an efficient way that, as I mentioned earlier, keeps Uncle Sam out of the picture. Questions that come up to us regularly here at the Coastal Financial Planning Group from our prospective clients is, when should I start creating my estate plan? And I'll go back to an estate planning attorney that we've worked with here at the Coastal Financial Planning Group for years, 20 years really. And he always said, you should do this while you're alive and well, because the next phase of life is alive and not so well, meaning you might have some cognitive issues and you can't do this type of planning. And the third stage of life is that you're no longer with us. So actually it's post-mortem. And at that point, we can't do anything about what we're talking today about. So let's make sure that we're taking some proactive steps to get a retirement income plan in place first, and then determine how the most efficient ways to set up a financial legacy would be. Another question, how often should I update my estate plan? Well, estate plans, certainly should be updated when there's any life-changing events, divorces, death, even job changes and things like that, because financial objectives can change. So any life-changing events, but at least I say about every 10 years or so. Another point in our 11-point resource materials that are shown to you in your show notes is using life insurance as a legacy planning tool. So I'm going to answer this question of what is legacy life insurance and how does it work and how much do you need? Well, I prefer to say it's not how much you need, but how much you might want. It's more of a decision as to, how much you want to pass on and how much you want to pass on efficiently. If you knew you could keep Uncle Sam out of the picture for your legacy plan, your financial legacy plan, how much would you want to set aside to do that? Different people, again, have unique goals and desires of how they want to pass on their estate. Some clients come to us at the Coastal Financial Planning Group and they say, this is all about me and my spouse. Our kids will get whatever's left, not too concerned with doing legacy planning. But then once we run an income plan for them and we show that they're going to be fine, we're going to have some other issues that we need to do to make sure that you're a good steward for this money and you pass it on in the most efficient ways possible. we're going to have some other things that we're going to address. And maybe that will be in the form of using life insurance to leverage that money on a tax-free basis. And that simply comes because life insurance death proceeds are income tax-free to beneficiaries. When you get into estate planning and trying to protect estates from estate taxes, that can be very detailed. But, for most of our clients at the Coastal Financial Planning Group, we've found that we can even avoid the estate planning route right now with current thresholds of what an estate tax kicks in at. But with life insurance for people that just see that they're going to have maybe $1 million left over at the end when both spouses are gone, we might look at putting a $500,000 life insurance plan in place to help pay the taxes on that money, because it is going to be taxed, of course, when the growth passes on to the next generation. Now, that's under some future tax planning considerations. Right now, everything's a little bit up in arms as far as what capital gains taxes will be and what the value of our primary residence, how they will be measured, going forward as far as capital gains, as far as estate pass on of our assets. But the key here is that we look at it, we see what the potential risk could be to your heirs of taxes and how to pass that estate on in the most efficient ways possible. And life insurance can be a very valuable tool to use for that. Another point in our 11 points of how to create and pass on a financial legacy would be this tax subject that I've been talking about. Question often comes up from our clients and also prospective clients of how can you pass on your assets to future generations while decreasing the tax burden. I just shared with you one great idea there. There's a couple other quick ones. People were using a stretch IRA in the past to pass on IRA assets and do some generation skipping and things like that. But new rules say that you have to, after the second spouse dies, that inheritor has to spend that money down within 10 years now in the IRA. So there is some other legal trust planning that can be done with IRAs, but we have found at the Coastal Financial Planning Group for our clients that the best opportunity is to do a Roth conversion and pay taxes now while taxes are on sale on low tax rates, on a low tax rate basis. Circumvent some of those limitations that I just mentioned of the 10-year rule and generational expenses of passing on wealth by going ahead and converting that Roth or that IRA now into a Roth and then letting that grow tax deferred and then eventually tax free for anyone who takes the money out of the Roth down the road. So now I covered an awful lot real quick. I'm sure you got some questions. I'm absolutely sure you need some additional information. So if you'd like the detailed 11-point report, 11 ways to create a financial legacy, please click on the link on the show notes below. Thank you, as always, for watching Navigating Retirement. I know you're saying, well, he didn't cover those 11 points right now. I'm giving you a little homework. Read the report. The report's going to generate additional information for you. It's also going to generate additional questions. And we hope, as always, that you give us a call here at the Coastal Financial Planning Group, or you set up your 3-step review to review your individual situation. My hopes are that the information that we did cover in this video will be of value to you, and it might be a great resource for the people that you know that are in the process of retirement or are thinking about retirement, people who you care about. But I bet there's someone while you were listening today that you probably thought would benefit from this information. So why not share it with them on Facebook, LinkedIn, or in an email that you forward to them? Retirement is a big step in life, one that shouldn't be taken lightly, and it's never too early or never too late to start planning for your retirement. as we learned today, even if you're planning for beyond retirement with your legacy plan. Thanks again for watching today. See you again soon for another edition of Navigating Retirement.
Catch more of Rick Durkee and Navigating Retirement by visiting cfpgroup.biz.
While we believe the information in this broadcast is reliable, we cannot guarantee its accuracy. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are not intended as investment advice or solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. Please consult your financial professional before making any investment decisions. Investment advisory services are offered through Fusion Capital Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor. SEC registration is not an endorsement of the firm by the Commission and does not mean that the advisor has attained a specific level of skill or ability. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as
third-party rankings and recognition from rating services and publications do not guarantee future investment success. Working with a highly rated advisor also does not ensure that a client or prospect will experience a higher fiduciary duty. These ratings should not be viewed as an endorsement of the advisor by any client and do not represent any specific corporate relationship. Generally, ratings, rankings, and recognition are based on information provided by the advisor. Please contact the advisor for more information regarding how these rankings and ratings were formulated.